Belfast was written and directed by...
Me. Gilderoy Lockhart.
No, not you. Like, nobody asked you to write this movie.
Boy, he doesn't know what he's saying.
I don't know what to tell you, Gilderoy. Sorry. Belfast is written and directed by Kenneth Branagh and is a semi-autobiographical take using fictionalized characters about his childhood, him growing up in Belfast in the 60s. And this is a coming-of-age tale that takes place in 1969 in Belfast amidst the Troubles, where the Catholics were against the Protestants. So there was a movie that was supposed to be released in 2019, kept getting delayed, and because of the pandemic, eventually got taken off the release schedule and was dumped on Disney+. It was directed by Kenneth Branagh, and that movie was Artemis Fowl, which was not only an insult to fans of the book series and people who have read the books, like myself, but it was also Kenneth Branagh's worst film he has ever made, whether he was writing it, directing it, or starring in it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen Kenneth Branagh do. That movie sucked. What a comeback for Kenneth Branagh with Belfast. Man, this is what he needed after that. I don't know what you want to call Artemis Fowl, but yeah, that's like a distant memory now, and Belfast really delivers. It's presented in black and white with a few fleeting moments of color. It really takes the template of Schindler's List, where it begins in color and then it shifts into black and white for most of the movie, and then there's a couple of fleeting moments of color and then it shifts back into color at the end of the movie. Schindler's List really did the same thing. The opening of Schindler's List was filmed in color, and then you see it slowly transition into black and white, where most of the movie is in black and white, aside from the little girl with the red coat, and then the ending when they all put the rocks on Oscar Schindler's grave is in color. So it's a very similar approach to that. No, I am not filming this review in black and white. That gimmick is too old now. But I think it really gave this movie a more definitive feel to it. It felt like a movie from the 1960s, made in the 1960s, about the 1960s. I think it made it feel more authentic than it would have if it was in color. The performances all across the board are great. Jamie Dornan is fabulous, fantastic in this movie. I really have a thing against people who are in Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey. For a while, I was against Robert Pattinson, but I come to realize he's a really great actor. Kristen Stewart is really starting to come into her own. I'm not a huge fan of Dakota Johnson, but Jamie Dornan is really starting to shape into his own, and he is fantastic in this movie. Everybody across the board. Judi Dench, Katrina Balfe, I think that's how you say her name. I know she's in that show Outlander, the lead actress from that. Cyrene Hines, who played Aberforth Dumbledore in Harry Potter, he's great as well. But the child actors are really great, and I'm really gonna be restrained when I'm talking about child acting for the future now, because I understand if you're a child and you're an actor, it's hard. You're gonna face a lot of criticism, unfortunately, similar to what happened with Jake Lloyd with The Phantom Menace. The way I look at it now with child actors, and I've been critical of child actors in the past, but I guess I'm gonna start looking at it as this. They're instructed to do something and their character's written in a certain way. So it either comes down to the writing or directing. They're just doing as they're told and, you know, reading what they're supposed to read and saying what they're supposed to say. That's how I really look at it. But all the child actors in this movie are really, really good. It's some of the best child acting I've seen in a movie in a long time. And this movie is just picture perfect. The cinematography is some of the smoothest I've seen in a drama this year. Not every scene, but a good chunk of the scenes in this movie have either somebody or something standing picture perfect right in the center of the frame. And when it goes to the close-ups of people, it's not like your typical close-ups or some really bad close-ups that you see in, you know, I guess you could say that really bad close-up of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith when he confronts Grievous. Some really bad close-ups in bad movies where they're just like, oh, we're just gonna show your like nose and like the inside of your nostril so we can see your like nose hair and then cut it off like right at your eye line. I'm like, that's not how you do a close-up. The close-ups in this movie are extremely effective and a lot better than what's in a lot of those movies. Where the movie faltered for me was how its conflict resolved. I didn't think it was actually resolved. I thought it just stopped. And it was a really interesting conflict between this guy who led this certain group against Jamie Dornan and his family, but that conflict just came to a screeching halt, and it never seemed like it was resolved, nor did it seem like there was any fallout or consequences from that. So the falling action for me just wasn't earned in that regard. But back to the positives. As I stated, there's a few fleeting moments of color, and it's mostly when the family is at either the movie theater or the playhouse, and they're watching something, and the movie theater screen, the picture on the screen, or what they're seeing on stage are in color. So it's almost as if you're a member of the audience experiencing what they're experiencing. I guess you could say a fly on the wall situation. And that I thought was interesting, that we were experiencing what they were experiencing, even though we can see it and it's clearly in color, if you know what I mean. We already know what we're watching, but then the camera just does a dead-on, full-on shot center stage as if we're in the audience. So I guess that's the best way to describe it. Guys, please go and see Belfast. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I really wasn't sure what to think of this movie. It's a great coming-of-age movie. It's very funny, too, surprisingly. And I think it's one of the most well-made dramas I've seen all year. I really enjoyed Belfast with a full bucket of popcorn. So have you seen Belfast? Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.